Episode 2 of Epic Sides. I just did episode 1 last week. Check it out, the Rolling Stones Tattoo You Side 2. Really kind of surprised with the reaction and the feedback I got, which is fantastic. That's one of the main reasons I like doing these videos and talking about records and sharing my collection. So today I want to talk about the 1976 classic album from David Bowie, ushering in the Thin White Duke persona, station to station. And I actually have two pressings of the record. That is a 1976 US original, and this is also a 76 US original. This was on the Tan RCA Victor label. Little glare there. I have a Hollywood pressing and I have an Indianapolis pressing. The Hollywood pressing that I have actually has, I don't know if that's going to show up, a little promo stamp. When they did it that way in the upper left hand corner, it's actually a little embossed stamp. Not for sale, promotional use only. Let's talk about the record in general and the creation of the record. David Bowie was living, he had based himself in Los Angeles, had just finished filming the principal photography for The Man Who Fell to Earth. Most of it was shot in New Mexico, and David Bowie first was in a rental home on Doheny Drive. Stupid story, I lived in LA for a year and I used to drive by this house on the way to work. I had no idea. Thank you internet, thank you Google Maps. And the second home that he lived in after the filming of the film, moving back into Los Angeles, decided to work on an album. He had a house up in Stone Canyon, Bel Air proper, I guess is the area of Los Angeles. But up Stone Canyon Drive, I've located a photo of that on Street View, so check it out. I'm sure it's probably had some alterations, modifications, but refreshingly, it hasn't been torn down and replaced with a McMansion. Probably hard to do in that little area up there in the canyon. Famously, Bowie was in basically not perfect condition during this year, or 18 months in Los Angeles. He in reading about this album, he had moved to LA. First of all, he was enthralled with Hollywood, wanted to become a film star, thought he was a screenwriter. It didn't really pan out as planned. And after the recording of this record and the rehearsals for the tour, he eventually moved to Berlin and started work on that trio of albums that we all know about. But Station to Station is an utter masterpiece. It has worked its way into probably my top 10 favorite albums of all time. I love, first of all, the graphic design of this piece. That is a still photograph from the film, actually, and the clean lines and clean layout, the stark white with the red. I love that font. You would see this kind of repeated on Changes and Changes 2 as well, although not the same color schemes. There are some real strong players on this album. They recruited Roy Bittan from Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band, so he's playing keyboards all over this album to great effect. Carlos Alomar, basically rhythm guitar and kind of the band leader of the band during that period. They brought in Earl Slick. Earl Slick is a beast on guitar. He has such interesting and incredible guitar lines throughout this album. Listen for those opening guitar phrases that Slick has on Word on a Wing, the final song on side 1. Emotional, amazing. It catches me every time. And when I hear this early RCA tan label pressing, in doing research, a lot of people agree with me. I think this is the best sounding version of the record that you can get. Some people will point to the UK early pressings. Importantly, if you're looking for an early US, make sure it's on the tan label, RCA, and you want to see that it has AZ for Alan Zentz. Alan Zentz Mastering handled this album, and it's an incredible sounding record. I've already said that, but look for AZ in the Dead Wax on both sides. And I think there's a couple variants of the Indianapolis pressing. There's a Hollywood pressing, and then there's some reissues after that. So make sure you find a clean copy of that tan RCA label, AZ in the Dead Wax on both sides. I think you're going to be amazed. The sound separation is fantastic. The stereo imaging, you can hear Alamar in one channel and Earl Slick's lead in another channel on various songs. George Murray was the bass player. Incredibly fluid bass lines moving through these songs. Dennis Davis on drums. This was going to be Bowie's core band for about 8 or 9 years moving forward from this point. The record was recorded in Los Angeles at Cherokee Studios in Studio One. This was a state-of-the-art studio in the kind of studio complex that Los Angeles was back in the day. It had only been open for a year, but Bowie went into Studio One. They did a couple tests on something, and he said, yeah, this will definitely do very nicely. So it's a incredibly well-engineered, well-recorded, well-mastered record, and you deserve to hear this tan label if you can find a clean one. It's getting tough out there, I would imagine, and they're getting very pricey on Discogs. I was in a local shop here about 2 months ago and picked up a second copy of this that was a little bit cleaner than the other one that I had. I will say it's very, very hard to distinguish between the Indianapolis pressing and the Hollywood pressing that I have. I don't know, maybe the Indianapolis has got just a little more something. This record has got a lot of air. I already talked about the separation. It's incredible. The imaging, very nice soundstage, very nice mix. There's plenty of bass. There's really, really wonderful decay in the piano notes on various songs. And let's talk about side one. So side one opens with the title track. And you've got a weird kind of a distortion of fuzz field opening, which is Earl Slick using a delay on his guitar. And it actually sounds like kind of a train moving by. And then eventually we move into a 10-minute epic song. It's fantastic. And then we move into Golden Years. Now, Golden Years, kind of blue-eyed soul with a heavy slice of funk thrown in there. Again, Bowie was kind of building on Young Americans and the Smash fame from the previous year. He actually appeared on Soul Train and did a little interview. It's easy to find on YouTube. Check that out. I think he appeared on the Cher show, and then he was, oddly enough, on the Dinah Shore show as well in little promos. Golden Years, I believe, was released as a single. The next song on side one is Word on a Wing. One of the most heartfelt Bowie songs you will ever hear. Kind of a cry for help. I mean, that I'm just adding, that's off the top of my head, but listen to that song. It's hymn-like. There are themes of spirituality and religious themes throughout this album. Go read some of the reviews. They talk about that as well. But Word on a Wing, one of the most gorgeous songs ever put to record. It's amazing that this record is kind of so cohesive and holds together so well, and it's aged so well, because I kind of alluded to it earlier. Bowie was not in a great state of mind. He was in basically a cocaine fog for the entire recording sessions, which took about 2 months in the fall of 1975. He's on the record. You can find interviews with Bowie where he states he doesn't even remember the recording sessions and doesn't remember a whole lot about his existence in LA during that time period. So really, really fascinating. And side A, again, 3 songs. You've got the title track, you've got Golden Years, and you've got Word on a Wing. All of about what? We've got about 20 minutes of music on here. Do yourself a favor, find a copy of this if you don't have one, and I think you're going to be amazed. Me personally, I hadn't heard this album. I found a copy, my first copy, about 2 years ago, and started to kind of sit down and give this album a deep listen. Concentrating on Earl Slick's guitar, or concentrating on that rhythm guitar, and really kind of bringing yourself into the music. And slowly but surely, this thing just really kind of blew my socks off and became a favorite listen. I will pull this album frequently, and it's that good. There's that promo stamp. Now, I also love side 2, TVC 15, Stay, and Wild is the Wind, which is a cover song. But side 1, really, that epic 10-minute opener really kind of catches you in your tracks if you listen to that song closely. And you go from point A to point Z on that song over the course of 10 minutes. So much musicality, so much. Hey, thanks for tuning in again today. That was episode 2 of Epic Sides. I've got lots more that I'm thinking about featuring, but I'm trying to get to my favorite impactful records. And they all, me, they all actually sound great, the different pressings that I'm going to feature. I'm making recommendations along the way as well, but most importantly, though, the music really has to catch you and basically make a connection. And for these epic sides of these albums I'm featuring, that is definitely the case. Have a great day.